Live from the CBS Broadcast Center in Los Angeles, this is CBS 2 News at 5 p.m.
And now at 5, an unthinkable crime on Christmas, no less. A woman struggles to break away from a purse snatcher only to be shot in the face. Tonight, that woman is fighting for her life after fighting back against that purse snatcher.
This all happened on Christmas Day near 104th Street and Yukon Avenue. CBS 2's Randy Page has been following the story all day long and joins us now live with the latest on the search for the shooter.
And that search is still on. I must tell you, this is a crime that has shocked a lot of people in this community, not only because of what happened, but also when it happened. Police say it was about 1 in the afternoon, Christmas Day. A woman in her 60s was walking to the store here near the corner of 104th Street and Yukon Avenue when a woman tried to grab her purse. Witnesses told police they saw a struggle, and the suspected robber shot the older woman more than once, jumped into a dark-colored sedan, and got away.
It's just sad how...
This woman, who agreed to speak to us if we do not identify her, said there have been a number of recent shootings in the area, but she said it shocks the conscience that an apparent armed robbery could happen here in the middle of the afternoon on Christmas Day.
The day you're supposed to think about how to be with your family and get along with everyone, and that's what you want to do.
People who live in the neighborhood we spoke to tell us they didn't hear or see anything, but they tell us they were inside their homes celebrating Christmas. Across the street, that big ivy-covered wall is a Costco on the other side. It was closed for Christmas Day, and the schoolyard was empty.
I'm pretty shocked, really.
This man, who asked us to only use his first name, Ernest, said he's concerned about the changes he's seeing in Inglewood.
A lot of people have been priced out, really, as far as rent is concerned, because what's happening is that there are corporations that are buying up property. They're transforming it. They're renting it for 3 and 4 times what it was initially being rented for. Gives us a glimpse at the direction that not only this city, but other cities are going.
Identity of the victim has not been released. I spoke to police just a few moments ago and was told that she is believed to still be in critical condition. Inglewood police are saying anyone with information, please get a hold of them. Live in Inglewood, Randy Page, CBS 2 News.
Randy, thank you. And now to a developing story happening in Jurupa Valley. 2 men were shot at by police after allegedly trying to cash forged checks. We're told officers opened fire just before noon as the men tried to drive away from the check cashing store. Nobody was hit by the bullets, but a couple of cars were hit by the suspect's SUV during the attempted getaway. The men were arrested a short time later near the area of Camino Real and Limonite. Glendale police are releasing a new clue that could potentially solve a deadly hit-and-run case. A driver hit and killed a 72-year-old woman last Friday on Glen Oaks Boulevard and Linden Avenue. CBS 2's Cristy Fajardo is live in Glendale for us with a possible break in this case. Cristy?
Yeah, Sharon, there are a couple of new developments in the case. The city of Glendale is now offering a $50,000 reward, and police believe they have a clear image of a woman they're calling a person of interest. Glendale police hope you will recognize the woman in this video. She's a person of interest in the hit-and-run death of 72-year-old Novar Ismailian last Friday. Police believe after the accident, this woman may have gone into Castle Liquors to avoid being seen by officers.
She bought a soda and the tickets, but I don't really remember her, never seen her before.
Police say other unreleased parts of the video show the woman trying to hide from the cameras. Detectives believe this is the same person another camera captured just minutes earlier, getting out and checking this black Prius for damage. Police say it appears she then drove away, and as she was approaching San Fernando and Allen Avenue, spotted patrol cars.
We also had some officers that were responding to the area, so just about the same exact time that she would have pulled over into that parking lot was the same time that our officers were responding. So it's a little bit of speculation, but she may have been trying to get away from the officers too.
Police say it was just before 7:30 Friday night when Novar Ismailian was run down in an unmarked crosswalk on Linden and Glen Oaks. Security cameras show the 72-year-old grandmother walking with her purchases. Her final moments caught on video. Now police believe cameras also caught the hit-and-run driver as she tried to cover up the crime.
She appears to be probably in her maybe 40s, medium build, probably about anywhere between 5'2" to 5'4", 5'6", and wearing all black clothing with something gray on underneath.
Police say that security video has helped them piece together the route the driver took after the hit and run, and they believe there are more videos out there. If you recognize the woman, detectives here in Glendale would like to hear from you. Live in Glendale, Cristy Fajardo, CBS 2 News.
Cristy, thanks for the update. One person's in critical condition after a chain reaction crash at the 110 and 105 interchange. An SUV slammed into the back of a big rig. It was about 10:30 this morning. You see it there. Firefighters had to free that driver from the car. There were 3 people in the car as well. They were able to get out on their own. Crews closed that transition road for several long hours before they were able to clear the whole wreckage.
An overnight fire in Southgate has turned deadly. It broke out around 3:30 this morning on San Vicente near Michigan Avenue. Firefighters pulled one man out of that house and rushed him to the hospital with burns, but LA Fire now says that man later died from his injuries. A massive fire ripped through an aluminum warehouse on Cypress Street in the city of Orange this morning. Firefighters say a hydraulic oil leak that came in contact with a hot object sparked this fire. Nobody was hurt. And in Culver City, a motel caught fire overnight, and we're told that one person was severely burned here. This is at the Astro Motel on Sepulveda Boulevard. The fire broke out around 3 a.m. Fire damaged at least 1 unit, but a few others have smoke and water damage as well. Firefighters are trying to figure out what started this fire.
While we're in the mess report, a big mess on 17th Street in Santa Ana today. Public Works crews out there cleaning up after a water main break caused the entire road to buckle. This is right between Alana and English Streets. Just found out that parts of the road are still open, but other parts are closed until they can get everything repaired.
A record-setting day on Wall Street. The Dow had its biggest one-day gain ever, erasing the big losses suffered on Christmas Eve. The Dow shot up 1,086 points today to close at 22,878. The Nasdaq gained 386, and the S&P 500 rose 116 points. Right now, President Trump is in Germany meeting U.S. troops after a whirlwind surprise trip to Iraq. These are the president's first visits to a combat zone since taking office nearly 2 years ago. CBS 2's Mola Lenge shows us.
President Trump and the First Lady made a surprise visit to U.S. troops in Iraq Wednesday.
We came to al-Assad to share our eternal gratitude for everything you do to keep America safe, strong, and free.
Mr. Trump said he had no immediate plans to withdraw from Iraq. About 5,200 troops are stationed there.
I want to just say great job. And we'll be watching ISIS very closely.
This is the first time since becoming commander-in-chief that Mr. Trump has traveled to Iraq or any combat zone. Facing mounting criticism for not visiting troops on the front lines, the president said in October he didn't think a visit was overly necessary.
Did you have any concerns about coming here today?
I had concerns for the institution of the presidency. Because, not for myself personally. I had concerns for the First Lady, I will tell you.
His trip to Iraq comes days after announcing he's pulling all U.S. forces from neighboring Syria, leading to the resignation of Defense Secretary James Mattis. The White House did not release any advance information about the trip. Mola Lenge, CBS 2 News.
And new movement today in the fight against ISIS in Syria. Russia and Syrian regimes are reinforcing their own troops near the Kurdish-held town of Manbij. That is a strategically important city in northern Syria. This reinforcement comes less than a week after President Trump announced ISIS was defeated in Syria and 2,000 U.S. troops are going to be coming home. Russian military leaders put out a statement today saying areas vacated by the U.S. should be handed over to the Syrian regime. A second migrant child died in the custody of Customs and Border Protection on Christmas Eve. CBS 2's John Lawrence reports the news brought swift calls for an investigation.
On Christmas Eve, 8-year-old Felipe Alonso Gomez died in a New Mexico hospital. The little boy was first hospitalized Monday after a border agent noticed he was sick. According to Customs officials, the child was released from medical care that afternoon after being diagnosed with a common cold and prescribed with antibiotics. Just a few hours later, he was taken back to the hospital after he began vomiting and died shortly thereafter. He is the second child from Guatemala to die in U.S. custody this month, and his death came just as Jacqueline Caal Maquin was buried in her home country. The 7-year-old died December 8th, less than 2 days after being detained. Her body returned to Guatemala Sunday, and Christmas Day her family gathered to say their final goodbyes. Former Senate candidate from Texas, Beto O'Rourke, voiced his concerns about the treatment of immigrants, especially children.
And let's make sure that they're okay. Let's make sure that they're with their families. Let's make sure that they get medical care. They pose no threat to this country.
Representative Joaquin Castro of Texas called for an investigation into Felipe Alonso Gomez's death. Customs officials are now investigating the cause of death. Other immigration advocates have already expressed concerns about conditions in the centers where migrants are being held following the little girl's death 2 weeks ago. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg is back home after undergoing surgery. Surgeons removed 2 cancerous nodules from her left lung on Friday. Doctors discovered the malignant nodules in November after Ginsburg fell in her office and fractured 3 ribs. According to the court, she now has no evidence of any disease elsewhere in her body. She is recuperating at home.
She is something.
Yeah, she is.
I tell you, one wrong move behind the wheel. In this case, it happened and a driver sent his car crashing into a local liquor store. And we'll show you what happened ahead.
And shoppers migrated to the malls once again. Returns, exchanges, and even some good deals. We're going to show you the post-holiday rush.
Hey everybody, I'm Garth Kemp. What a day. More beautiful weather on the way. We'll tell you about it coming up.
My name is Staff Sergeant Joseph Alvarez. I'm stationed here in Incirlik Air Base, Turkey. Just want to say Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to all my friends and family back home in LA. Go Lakers!